The word is getting out. Auto recyclers are realizing that they have lost a fortune selling their converters by code. Check out the latest issue from Parts Digest, testimonials from some of our existing customers. Customers like Bob Dirks from Dirks Auto Parts in Mays Landing, New Jersey. He's also the past president of the New Jersey Auto Recyclers Association. John Rossi from Rossi Auto Salvage in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Tom Stava from AA Auto Parts in Williamstown, New Jersey. Kevin Kiff from Kiff Towing in Cumberland, Maryland, how he made 300% more through processing versus selling to his trusted code buyer for 10 years. If you look in the fall issue of Parts of last year, you'll see our introduction to us from Gene Knoll, the owner of Village Motors in Fleetwood, PA, and past president of Parts. In the spring issue of this year, of the Parts issue, you'll read about Jason Weber from Weber Brothers' experience with us versus code buying, selling by code buying. Also, John Cosentino from Shorty's in King of Prussia, and David Field from Connor's Truck in Pottstown. Our customers are actually our best referrals. In this last issue here, you will also read about our tote exchange, our ICB tote exchange program, as well as our story, which shares the frustrating experience selling by code that I had, and that everyone should be pissed off selling by code if they realize how much money they'd lost over the years. Here I am in the Parts Convention. We had a booth there at Seven Springs Resort. Met a lot of the great members there. This was a really great show. If anybody's a Parts member and you're not attending this is probably one of the most valuable things you can get out of your membership is attending this, meeting other successful auto salvage yards, meeting other industry leaders, and really realizing how you can spend 2 days just learning about how to improve your business. So I'd highly recommend this to everyone. We're going to go over what is selling by code and what are the problems selling by code. So the problem selling by code is it's reduced values in the code application of the apps. So they're turned down anywhere from 10, 20, or 30%. It's time consuming to find the code. So if you want to have a basic idea of what they should be worth, even by code, you're going to spend a lot of time wire wheeling, removing shields, trying to write down rusted numbers. Is it a 6, a 0, or a 9? Then trying to look up these numbers in an app, only to try to keep from getting ripped off, really bad, versus, not knowing anything. So you get paid 50% less or more on unknown codes that you can't find or broken catalysts. They'll consider it a partial when it was just dropped and it's broken, but everything might be there. There's multiple middlemen. So you have a small code buyers that can go around, they can afford to buy $20,000, $30,000 worth of converters during the week, but they got to sell them at the end of the week to a bigger code buyer so they can take the cash and go and do it again next week. So you got two middlemen in between you and the processor. There's no way to know the true content value of your converters. Even the code buyers or the core buyers that have the apps and have the professional grade app where they can turn the price up or down to make it look like they're paying more for certain converters to try to win over your business and then adjust it down on all your other converters. They don't know what the content value is, so they only know what the app says. What is selling by grade and what are the problems selling by grade? So if you're a core buyer that's buying your converters isn't looking for codes and they're not wire wheeling and looking for numbers and typing in those numbers, it's even worse than selling by code. So there's only like 25 grades versus 2,000 codes. So, the grading system, they'll have them listed as, an extra large foreign, and they'll have one price for all the extra large foreign. Well, there might be 8 codes for that extra large foreign with 8 different prices ranging from, $63 to $263, and they're going to have a price maybe like $83 or $93 for all of them across the boards. Then they'll have like a large foreign, small bread loaf, large bread loaf, standard foreign. So if you're don't have a code method, it's even worse selling by grade. It allows them to go through them very fast, and you can't check them because you don't know what they are by grade. There's only 25 categories, as I mentioned, versus 2,000 codes. There's no way to verify the grading values on selling by grade. So now we're going to go over what is converter processing and how is it different. The first step is decanning. So decanning begins with decanting the process rather begins with decanting the converters, shearing them in half as you see what's happening on the left-hand side of your screen, and removing the internal honeycomb structure and the powder once it's crushed. And it goes down into a 30-gallon drum or 55-gallon drum underneath the decanting machine. The second machine is milling, so all that catalyst that's broken out and put into the drums, and those biscuits are removed, and they're ball milled to a fine dust and screened for impurities. This uniformly mixes the catalyst for the next stage, which is testing. Step 3 is XRF assay, which is an X-ray. So the milled sample is compressed into a sampling vessel and placed on the XRF window, analyzing window. So you see here in that upper little picture, it looks like something that's like, they call it mylar, it looks like saran wrap, and it's packed into this little sampling vessel, and it's placed over that clear glass eye in the center of the XRA machine. And then the hood is closed and the XRF, the X-ray, is run, and it detects the parts per million of platinum, palladium, and rhodium in the sample. This then allows us to calculate the ounces and grams by your volume. So it'll say 384 parts per million of platinum. And if you have 268 pounds of material, milled material, then you multiply out, there's an equation that multiplies the parts per million by the batch weight, and it'll convert it into ounces and grams of platinum, palladium, and rhodium in that sample. So to let you know that, hey, if you had 284 parts per million and you had 295 pounds, that you then have, 18.324 ounces, grams and ounces of platinum. So that's how the first test done, which 90% of your total dollar amount is paid out after the XRF, which is 7 to 10 days from the time we get your material. Step 4 is ICPM assay. ICPM sample is digested in an acid formula and an industrial microwave that you see in the left-hand corner of your screen, and it's dissolved the powder into a liquid. This liquid is then run through an it's neutralized first in that 50 ml container that you see down there that I'm holding in my hand. The picture to the right of the 50 ml container, putting the acid into the digested the digestive vessel that's put into the microwave. The machine above that is the ICPMS. So the liquid that's neutralized, that acid, is then neutralized and run through here as a vapor. And right where the hood is picked up, there's a cylinder in there that reads how many parts per billion of platinum, palladium, and rhodium are in there. And that's the most accurate testing. And then that's converted back down to parts per million. And then it's converted into ounces and grams. So the final 10% plus the increase from the more accurate ICPMS assay results is paid out to you within 21 days of the first XRF assay. Then, now the material, you've been paid for the material. So the customer, we've sold the material. You can sell it at whatever price you set. You don't have to sell it at that day's price. You can look back at the history and say, I want to sell it when it hits $5,700 per ounce. But the material's already been sold and paid for, and now the smelting process begins, and the materials combined in batches of 10,000 pounds or more and smelted to separate the silica or the ceramic from the PGM metals and the other metals present. So the PGM is platinum group metals, which is your platinum, palladium, and rhodium, and those metals are then poured into large ingots. Those ingots then get refined. So the ingots are put into a series of acid solutions to separate the individual metals and purify it to 99.9% purity. The metal can be sold in bars or in liquid form for recoating of converter biscuits. Now that you know how processing works, what's the difference between us and other processors? Other processors use commercial or communal dust collection systems. So what I mean by this is you see the shear here with the red arrow pointing to it, and you see the stovepipe ductwork that goes up to a main duct, and it goes all the way back to this dust collector you see on the left that has two 55-gallon drums on it. So you have 6 or 8 machines in a row. You'll have 6 guys working at this, decanting different customers' material. And as they're decanting, as you saw in the video of us decanting, there's a lot of dust created when you're banging and knocking the stuff out of the thing, out of the housing. That dust all gets sucked up and put up into a main trunk, and that goes all the way back to a main dust collector and goes in those 55-gallon drums. Now, the dust isn't lost, but it's lost for you. It doesn't end up in your load, because in the bottom there is where your drum or your super sack is to catch your material, and then it goes to milling. So that 3 to 6 or 10% or 8% of dust that is being lost, you're losing thousands of dollars with that system. We use a process using individualized dust collection system right next to the decanter. So you see our shear there, and you see the red arrows going down to the 30-gallon drum with the plastic liner in it. The yellow thing up top is a HEPA-vac dust collector that sucks the air from the dust from the machine and puts it right through that cylinder. At the end of your load, there's a handle on there that we hit a couple times, and it cleans out your filter and puts it all down into your bag, and that gets added to your load. So you're not losing any of your dust with your load. Other processors have high volume requirements, long turnaround times, no cash payouts, costly shipping, and material dust is lost in decanting. Our processing, low volume requirements, high payouts. We got short turnaround time, average 7 to 10 days to your first payout of 90% from the time we pick it up. We pay cash or bank wire transfer. Other processors will only pay bank wire transfers. We have free pickup depending on where you're at, and we have cost-effective shipping. We also have used the drops like Gene Knowles from Village Motors. He has a parts drop in Fleetwood at his place. He also has another one in Harrisburg, so we can pick them up there for you as well to save you on shipping and make it more cost-effective. All dust is captured during the decanting and added back to your material, as I mentioned. So how processing with us works. Step 1, you call to schedule to pick up or arrange shipping based upon the location and quantity. Chris Leland, myself, will meet with you upon the first shipment and explain to you the paperwork more thoroughly and in person. And the first payout, I come out and pay you, whether it's cash or bank wire, and go over the paperwork with it. When we pick it up, we give you signed receipts. We also provide the ICP totes to fill them, so that as they're being thrown in there and stuff falls out, it's captured in the plastic ICB tote. We can vac it and put it in your load. So we like this better than the cardboard Gaylord boxes where the material can fall through the box. Step 2, each customer's lot is kept separate during decanting and milling and screening. An XRF essay with 90% payout within 7 to 10 days. Our parts members are paid out at 94% of what we get paid on the platinum, 94% of the palladium of what we get paid, and 90% of the rhodium. So you're getting paid at the highest payout, as if you were doing 4,000 pounds at a time, because we're paying you based upon the collective volume of the association and not just you as a single business. If you look at the top of these drums, each company is put on top of there. You have J&D Auto Salvage. You see the gross is 273. The tear is 21.3, which is the drum weight. The net weight is 251.7. So you're getting paid on the dust and all the material that shows up, and not have to worry about what is lost in their system. This other one you see, Weber Brothers, same thing, is 304 gross, 24 pounds for the drum, 280 pounds net. And so that's one of the ways you get paid the most amount of money. You're getting paid for all your material based upon our weights, not based upon anyone else telling you what the weight was when they weighed it. Step 3, you wait for the payout sheets to be emailed within 7 to 10 days of receiving your material, and cash or bank wire to be paid as arranged. 90% of the total is paid at this time. The final step is you wait for your final payout sheets to be emailed within 21 days of your first essay results and payout, and you get your final cash or bank wire to be paid as arranged. You get the final 10% plus the increased on your ICP essay results, meaning the additional ounces and grams that are discovered in the second essay, the ICP-MS essay. You also have the option to wait to sell at preferred ounce price. So you got to let us know that ahead of time, and your material will be essayed at XRF, and you can look at the history of what rhodium was this month, and if rhodium was bouncing from $5,200 an ounce up to $5,700 an ounce, you can say, look, I want to put a sell order, then when it gets to $5,650 or $5,700, then I'll sell my rhodium. Same thing with platinum or palladium. You can say, hey, it was a high of like $1,350, and right now it's at $1,125. I want to wait till it hits $1,300. So just like you can put in a sell price for your stock, you can put in a sell price for your ounces and grams to make the most amount of money. The other thing you can do is there's a interest that's charged by the refinery for the length of time, 115 days until it's refined. You can also opt to wait during that time while you're waiting for your ounce price and save yourself the interest that they charge. So there's just, it puts you in total control of when you sell, how much you sell for, and how much interest you have to pay or not pay. We do facility tours. They're available by appointment, so we can get you. We sell the material either to Legends or Elemental. We sell all of our foils right now to Elemental because we get the, or I'm sorry, to DOA because I made a mistake there. So we sell all of our foils to DOA. We get the best price, and we pay you out the highest price around. Like even other facilities only pay $7 for domestic, and they're paying $13 for foreign. Right now, we can pay you $19.20 across the boards for either foreign or domestic, for trimmed value. So we can arrange a tour for you of our facility, of our lab. We can arrange a tour for you for DOA in Pottstown, which ships out to Japan and does their smelting and refining in Japan, or Legends, which is owned by Elemental, which is out of Ohio, received in Ohio. They send it back to Poland. So we want to be transparent. We want to educate you, know where your material goes and how you can make the most money for your material from start to finish. So we appreciate the time to get to know you, to be able to work for you, and help you get the most amount of money for your material. Look forward to meeting you and look forward to the opportunity to work for you.